What was the biggest story of the last 2 weeks? Biggest news story. I was at the gym yesterday, and they're still covering it. There's a guy named Danilo Cavalcante. He did this, we used to call it a crab walk. I don't know what you call it. To do graffiti if you wanted to get really high up on a building. If there's two buildings that are close to each other, you put your feet on one side and your hands on the other side, and you kind of just crab walk all the way up to the top of the buildings. You can slide down, get on top, and then you can do your graffiti. Illegal stuff. I would never recommend doing this. Allegedly. Anyway, he did that to escape from prison a couple of weeks ago, and this has been a big story for some reason. I for the life of me, I don't know why this is a big story. The funniest part about this story is that the most important part of that story was never addressed. But he was caught. They got him yesterday or the day before. I don't know what it was. He was out for 2 weeks, I believe, on the run. Every time you look up, they're looking at, he's a murderer. That's weird. Especially when the murderer is an illegal. Did you know he was an illegal? Nah, that's not important. That's not important. What was important is that they find this killer and that they take the attention off of their president formally being announced as he's being impeached. There's an inquiry now. That's the real story. Everything Hunter Biden has done, everything Joe Biden has done has now led to an impeachment inquiry. So what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about an illegal alien who's killed people and him escaping from jail. We don't want to mention that he's an illegal alien because that makes us look bad. Just think of that part alone. He was an illegal alien in our country, in one of our prisons, for killing people. I don't know if it was more than one. I read that he killed more than one person. Doesn't matter. He shouldn't have been here, right? He's illegal. Why is he here in the first place should have been the natural question, and that should have been the story, to be honest with you. Because there's no prison to escape from if he's in Mexico. Now, I don't know if he's from Mexico. I know he came through Mexico for sure. I saw that in a report. I'll follow up on that one, because that's very important detail. Either way, he's an illegal. He kills somebody. They lock him up, put him in jail forever. And then he escapes. Why is he in jail forever? Why am I paying for that again? I'm just curious. Oh, that's not important? Oh, CNN, you just left that out? Wall-to-wall coverage on this guy, and you couldn't mention that he was an illegal? Anyway, Joe Biden is now under an official impeachment inquiry. What does that mean? That means all the money laundering, all the illegal things that his son has done, and how it's impacted him is now under official scrutiny. Not these fake investigations where they try to wait until the statute of limitations is passed. None of that. No more of that. There's now going to be several investigations into the actions of Hunter in relation to his father, and then how his father benefited. And here's what's interesting. Now the left is saying, wait a minute, there was no vote. Oh, really? When did you have a vote to impeach Donald Trump? Both times? Oh, you didn't? That's weird. Nancy Pelosi didn't have a vote? She didn't hold a vote? Oh, why? Well, why are you guys now complaining that it's happening to you with your president? McCarthy had to announce it without the vote because they don't think that he had enough votes on the Republican side to get the impeachment going, which is very strange because all that tells me is that those swamp creatures need to go. I wish he would have held the vote so we had names. So they put their names to it. I don't want to look into corruption because there's documented corruption here, and he doesn't have the votes. on the Republican side? After what happened to Donald Trump? Really? Who are you people? I'd love to know who they are. I would love to know who they are. Because, again, these are the swamp creatures. This is the swamp. The people who are probably over there in Ukraine doing the same thing that Biden's doing. Laundering money through there. Those are the ones we need to figure out. Who are you guys? Hey, Republicans, why don't you want to look into actual corruption? You think it'll come back on you? Anyway, 2 full impeachments of the president. Well, not full impeachments, but House impeachments. And you didn't find anything. Biden already has things that are documented. Documented corruption. One of the reporters outside, I think she may have been from the UK. I don't know who she was. She was a leftist for sure. But she's like, well, this is all a political stunt. Did she regret saying that?
What evidence do you have as opposed to allegations to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you...
Oh, I don't know.
McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge.
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary. You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. It's not normal to have 20 shell companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to not only just widespread corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blunt, look, I'll turn it over to the attorneys.
People can't see that. They think it's political revenge.
It's because you don't report on it.
The question is, if you watch the news and you're following this guy who escaped from prison and who's walking through the streets of Pennsylvania or wherever it happened, why was that the news and not an impeachment? Wall-to-wall coverage of both of Donald Trump's impeachments were on every single media outlet. Every one of them, including Fox, by the way. Why? Oh, it's a big story. So what? Now it's not important? Because we've seen this before. It's not newsworthy. CNN literally boxed themselves in because they did a full day 1 of impeachment, day 2 of impeachment. They did a full calendar of both of Trump's impeachments, and they covered it from beginning to end and then afterward. And they're still talking about it. Twice impeached Donald Trump. Now their guys got it. And this is what people were trying to warn the left on. Be careful of the doors you guys open, because you won't be able to close them. And when that mirror gets reflected on you, you're going to have to deal with what you've done. And here we are. But hey, let's talk about some guy who's illegal, escaped from prison. Maybe the American people won't pay attention to this. By the way, it's just an impeachment. What's the big deal?